Let me ask you one question. How many decisions have you made this year based on what other people might think? Maybe you didn't start the business. Maybe you didn't post the video. Maybe you stayed in the relationship. Maybe you stayed quiet in a meeting. Maybe you kept living a life you didn't even enjoy. Not because it was what you wanted, but because you were worried about what someone else might say. Welcome back to the Marcus Allgood Show. Thanks for watching and listening. And if you get any value out of the show, please share it. What we're going to talk about today is why you care so much about what other people think. And I used to really, really care about what other people thought of me. And I still do a little bit because of the business that I have with the coffee shop. But if I didn't have the coffee shop, I wouldn't care as much. I still have to care a little bit because I want people to come in and I want people to have a good time. But for the most part, you really shouldn't care what other people think. You will find your tribe. And if you can't find your tribe, you just haven't found the right people to hang out with you. And if don't like you, those just aren't your people. And you don't have to have them. You don't have to have them in your life. You don't have to please 100% of the people that you meet. You're not always going to be friends with 100% of the people you meet. You'll find your tribe and you'll stick to that little group that you got. So some of the lies we tell ourselves is I don't care what people think. I still say I don't care what other people think. When deep down inside you actually really do. Most people say that. Very few actually live it. The reality is that we all care to some extent. The question isn't whether you care, how much control you've given those opinions. And to give those opinions control is what really matters the most. And it's how you're going to accept what's actually going on around you and what those people actually think. Is you letting those opinions creep into your brain and sit there and fester a little bit at a time and just like driving you crazy a little bit over and over and over. You can't let them just get inside there and act like little worms crawling around your brain. So, the hard truth, the moment you let someone else's opinion become more important than your own values, you hand them the steering wheel to your life. And you just don't want that. And I've talked to Kelly about that before on some of these people that are around that you just can't control them. You're not trying to control them, but you just can't almost like get rid of them out of your life because they're just sticking around. And if you let those people get into your head and you let those people start diminishing your values to bring you down to their values, then those are definitely the people that you don't want to hang out with. And it's really, really hard to see it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And therefore, you can get rid of them out of your life and you can move on to the tribe that you actually really need to be hanging out with. Why our brains care about approval, which sometimes I really wish I could just turn that approval care off and just turn it off. Just bloop, gone. Humans are wired for belonging and having a group and being together. And I told Kelly I went to the run club yesterday morning, and it was a lot better to run as a group than it is solo. And that goes on to this. Like it's just things are just better as a group as long as you got a core group of people that actually care about you and actually have a good time. And you don't have to try and be somebody else. You can just be yourself. Wanting acceptance isn't weakness, it's normal. We all go through it. The problem is when acceptance becomes more important than authenticity. And authenticity makes up way more than becoming somebody else that you're not. Like being authentic is one of the most main things that you have to do, especially in the world of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of them. There's so many people living highlight reels on there when deep down inside they're hurting and just wish they had somebody to hang out with, somebody they could call, somebody they could text, and just have a conversation with and just sit down and hang out. The cost of living for approval, you get you get smaller dreams because of the fact that you are scared that you're gonna not be approved by some of your peers or your parents or your spouse, something like that. You're going to have less confidence, fewer risks, more regret. And the regret, you got two kinds of regret. Either, so let's say you get married, you regret it. You don't get married, you regret it. Either way, you're going to regret it. So therefore, you have to pick which regret you want to go with, whether it's going to be getting married or not getting married. But getting married comes with a whole lot of benefits also, but you might regret the fact that you don't get to go out at night anymore. You don't get to go party, you don't get to go do the different things. On the other side, you might regret that you didn't get married because of the fact that you're missing out on kids and a wife, steady relationship, the white picket fence. But on the other side, you're out partying, having a good time. So you got to pick which one you're trying to go with and just own it. It doesn't, you could call it, you don't have to call it regret later on, but you just got to own it. But it doesn't matter if the grass is always greener on the other side. So just pick which one you want to be on. The safest life often becomes the most regret filled life because you don't want to be sitting there on your deathbed saying, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. I regret not going to that camp. I regret not going into business for myself. I regret not giving it a try. The best thing is if you jump out there and give it your all, try and make something happen. Go out there, jump off the limb, do some crazy things. You're not going to have the regrets that I would say probably 90% of the people have because they want that safe life. They don't want to take the bet. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to take the bet. And they definitely don't want to bet on themselves because that's a whole nother podcast that we could do later on. The people you're trying to impress are usually too busy worrying about what other people think about them. That realization is freeing. Going to the gym, the crazy thing is when people go to the gym for the first time, they think everybody's staring at them, and nobody's staring at them. You are the only one thinking people are staring at you. They did this, I don't know if I talked about it or not, but they did this study where they painted like a scar on people's face, like 3 people's faces, and then they actually wiped it all off without them knowing and told them that they still had this painted scar on their face, and they told them to go walk around town and come back. And the people that had the scar washed away came back saying everybody was staring at my scar. I couldn't believe how they would just sit there and stare at it. And they didn't know they didn't have the scar on them. It's all upstairs in your head. And they told them they didn't have the scar on it, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say," because of the fact that it's like when you have a cold sore or you get a scratch on your face, something that somebody can see. You personally think that's all people are staring at. When most of us don't even care. We're not even looking at that. We're just talking to you. We're just having a good time. It's just the mind is crazy. So just remember, you're not trying to impress anybody but yourself. If you're trying to impress you from a year ago or a month ago or 6 years ago, you're not trying to impress anybody else. Just make it happen for you. The question that changed my life, instead of asking, what will people think? Ask yourself, what will I think about myself if I don't do this? And that's a completely different conversation to have inside your brain and even with somebody else that you can really take trust in because of the fact that when I opened up the CrossFit gym, it taught me so much about life. And then listening to all the motivational speakers and things on the radio, on the YouTube, and you quit thinking about what people are going to think about you, and you think about what am I going to do? What am I going to think about myself if I don't do this CrossFit gym, or if I don't train these people, or if I don't open the coffee shop, or I don't become a realtor? What am I going to think about myself? Like, who cares what other people think? Think about what is going on in your brain and what you're going to think about yourself when you're trying to do something different, especially when none of your other friends are doing it. So how do we break free? You accept that criticism is part of growth. Let your values make decisions instead of your fears. Remember that people who matter may disagree with you and still love you. And it's okay. They're still going to love you, but they're going to disagree with you. Build a life that earns your own respect first. You have to be the boss of yourself, the CEO of yourself and your mind and your feelings. And you have to respect yourself if you're not going to respect other people. So in closing, at the end of your life, you won't have to answer someone else's opinions. You'll have to answer for your own choices. Don't spend your life trying to get applause from people who aren't living your life. It's your life. Get the applause from yourself. It is okay to be confident in yourself, respect yourself, and believe in yourself, and give yourself pats on the back, and get excited when you actually make little wins each day, each week, each month. That's the pod. I appreciate everybody listening. Have a great day.